Yeah, well, Chidi, that's a very good question. Um, everything else considered, we have seen a particular common factor from 2021 when Nnamdi Kanu was renditioned, a certain pattern in those social media remarks or criticisms that you refer to. They are not remarks or criticisms, they are pure, barefaced, vile blackmail and a tissue of mischief coming from a certain quarter that has been identified and unmasked. That we do not want to call them by their names does not mean we don't know who they are. But I can tell you a few things that can point you to who they are. When Nnamdi Kanu was renditioned in July 2021, I stepped forward and said he wasn't extradited. That was what everybody was talking about. People had limited understanding of what extraordinary rendition meant. I practiced law in America for several years, and the first extraordinary renditions were being done by U.S. government and Israeli government. And I know it's unconstitutional. I know it creates barrier to prosecutions and trials. I knew these things. I studied it. So when I saw how he was forced into Nigeria, I knew right there that trial or prosecution would turn out to be impossible. And I spoke about it publicly. The same set of people that are still blackmailing me and members of the legal team and members of Nnamdi Kanu's family and people like you, and they also are, blackmailing some of our brothers from Ontario, Canada, who have been very, very vocal, and those in North America. The same set of people publicly took up on me, and some of them were calling me a crazy American lawyer with crazy ideas that wouldn't sell. Some were even saying that my mountain extraordinary rendition is a coded message to God knows who, to do Nnamdi Kanu in. That defense, I was suggesting that line of defense that I knew it was doomed to fail. But lo and behold, that was the argument that won the case at the Court of Appeal. I stand here to tell you proudly that I wrote that part of argument on extraordinary rendition because I had the best understanding of it. The next best person, or the next person that had a good understanding of it, was Nnamdi Kanu himself, because I took all the materials to him, at the DSA detention facility, and the man is very smart. He's a quick learner. So he read it up and he agreed with me, and in fact he suggested some lines of argument, which the Court of Appeal adopted. It's not as if I'm taking credit or anything. I'm just giving you a historical background. So the same people that criticized that defense are also the same people that came out and started celebrating the victory based on that defense. That is very duplicitous and very evil. It's the same people that also criticized me or blackmailed me when I went to the High Court of Abia State to seek justice against the federal government and in favor of Nnamdi Kanu for that Python dance.
Sure.
They were making fun of the trial and giving the defense, the federal government, keys, certain coded keys, and some of them not so coded, on how to defend the lawsuit. They did, and they failed. And the victory came, and they kept quiet. Some of them just came out and said, 1 billion only, should have been 100 billion. But they criticized the lawsuit, or they blackmailed me. Then the second victory that came from Federal High Court Omaha suffered the same fate with them as well, because all these things are public information. The internet doesn't lie. They go after me when I take these steps. They call me all kinds of names and everything, and then when the case is won, they begin to celebrate. They are double-faced. They celebrate. They use the fruits of these cases to make cases for themselves or overseas, because these cases prove that members of IPOB in Nigeria are prone to persecution,
yes,
or that they possess a political opinion which the government of the day in Nigeria, or at least the past government was seeking to suppress by means of punishment of some sort. These victories that I scored on, underscore that point. And some of these people blackmailing me are using the thing to be prosecuting successful asylum applications around the world. I mean, what greater evil can you see than that? And the same thing goes for the High Court of Enugu State. When I succeeded under very difficult conditions and everything, I have faced a lot of threats to my safety and everything. Handling these cases and still keeping my head on my shoulder, it can only be by the grace of God. I have aged, exponentially since 2021 when I took on these cases. I wasn't looking this elderly. It has taken a toll on me, but I walk happily, stoically, and very proudly. And I am here to win, not to gossip on the internet. So when I filed the Enugu case, seeking to declare that decision, to declare IPOB a terrorist group, they were blackmailing me and say, you're not IPOB lawyer. You're not IPOB lawyer. Come on, man. I mean, how can you quarrel with success? I'm fighting for you and you're telling me I'm not an IPOB lawyer. If I'm a lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu briefed me, everybody knows that. And then automatically I'm an IPOB lawyer. Is the leader of IPOB, and you're saying that he's your leader as well. So why are you crossing that? Sometimes I face challenges in court because the federal government will seize on that and file a motion challenging my rights to file the case, and they'll be filing all this evidence, and I overcome them anyway. But we won the case in Enugu, and the rest is history. And they turned around and latched on the case, and they celebrate the case, but they were against me, issuing all kinds of blackmails and everything. And but the unfortunate thing is that the government that we filed these cases against and other non-state actors aligning with the government, they seize on these blackmails to question some things or to undermine what we are doing, and even try to undermine Nnamdi Kanu. That has happened on many occasions. Everything cannot be in the public, but we have fought a very big battle, not only to confront the legalities of the case and the difficulties inherent in marshalling defenses, but also to combat or diminish the impact of these people that are blackmailing lawyers and blackmailing Nnamdi Kanu indirectly and undermining his case while using his photograph, his image, as their DP or display picture on their social media accounts. That is the trick they are using. So when you click on it, you see the picture of Nnamdi Kanu, and a lot of them, have spam accounts. We did investigations. One of them could have like 50 or 20 or 30 spam accounts with different phone numbers emanating from all kinds of countries. So to trace that they are spam is difficult, but we have traced that. So they can come and on social media and post something and say, Chidi has turned a white man. And then he will use his 10 or 15 other spam accounts to quickly go in there and agree with the falsehood he has just posted. That is the trick they are using. And we found that we have a whole dossier of intels on them. And at the right time, it will be made public. Perhaps as soon as Nnamdi Kanu is released and is aware of what we are talking about. Some people are saying incommunicado, dungeon, whatever, but we do have access to him, and he does get full briefing from us. He's a man of intelligence and a man of contemplation and tact through very impeccable sources. He knows what is going on. He knows where it's coming from. He knows the purpose, the hidden purpose, even when you're, abusing his image or mouthing or touting him as your leader, but you do things that undermine him directly or indirectly. He knows all these things. He's not a foolish man. So what we have now as official policy of the legal team is to ignore. We cannot engage any miscreant there or any non-state actor using Nnamdi Kanu's picture and masquerading as an ally or as a Biafran, and then using that platform to undermine what we're doing. We figured it out, and they are not going to be engaged, because engaging them is to make them more popular, if not more notorious, and give them more visibility. So we are keeping our eyes on the ball, and we are going to prevail at the end of the day. And our client, the alpha male himself, Nnamdi Kanu, supports this official policy of ignore. Thank you.
Bulaba doesn't care about how the North solve its own problem. I'm telling you. And why do I say that? Because in the midst of this negotiation with bandits, have you heard any word from the federal government condemning the action? Despite the fact that the majority of the Hausa population are rejecting that and are saying that is injustice. But he doesn't care. Why? Because this is a man that came out to tell you people that he doesn't even believe in one Nigeria. And what makes him say that? Well, to some certain extent, we want to blame him for saying he doesn't believe in one Nigeria. But this is a man that has been in politics for a very long time before he made that comment. And why did he make that comment? Because he has seen that, let's tell ourselves the truth. Now here we go tell ourselves the truth. At least, you know, get where we go talk and we don't go talk for grave. Which is the fact that the North seems to be divided across religious basis. We're busy pursuing who is superior. Is it Christian or is it Muslim? Abi? Trying to establish the kingdom of God on earth. And he knows that to some certain extent, everybody have seen that that happens to be a major determinant in regards who wins the next election. Just like we saw with the Muslim ticket, Abi? That is to tell you that while other regions are thinking of something else, in the North, all we think about is Muslim ticket, or who is of the same religion like we to vote into power. And haven't seen that and a lot of other variables. That is why he confidently came out to tell you that he doesn't believe in one Nigeria. And that is why you'll be surprised now, even in a state like Katsina, where there's high level of banditry and they are pardoning bandits now. When he enter Katsina now, they are clapping for him. Clapping, gathering around the whole street. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be surprised. Because it's all about give and take. You settle who you need to settle that will ensure your next time coming or whatever, and you go. And in regards the plight of the Igbos, this is part of the reason I feel he doesn't care. Because let's face it, the fact is, the demands of the Igbos are genuine and authentic in regards the sense that, let's face it now, why will you, despite the fact that the Niger Delta, at least after the division, after they don't separate them, carve them out into a cycle, they are no more with the Niger Deltas, they are no more the same with the Niger Deltas, but they used to be. But the fact is, what I'm trying to say is the fact that before now they were one, and they are considered as the oil producing regions of the state, and as a result of that, they have a lot of they have a lot of waterways. They are close to the ocean as one region before the division, before they now isolated the Igbos in the middle. But after they have isolated them now, they are on their own. The Niger Deltans now are in command. And since the Niger Deltans are in command now, they now compensated them with 13% derivative. Despite the fact that the 13% derivative doesn't go around for everybody, it's only for the bourgeois, for the big men of the region. Because if you go to Niger Delta, if you see the level of hardship, you will be shocked. You will be surprised that this is an oil-producing region in Nigeria. You will be shocked. So they are compensated, they kept quiet. So when the Igbos now come up to complain and say, hey, we don't have port, we're supposed to have ports or whatever, they say, we no get water. You don't have water. It's the Niger Deltans that have water. Can you see? So by virtue of that now, they are left with no options. And again, They have succeeded in empowering people like Tompolo, them Asari Dokubo, or whatever, that at the end of the day, when the Igbos come to say that we are one, this used to be the same region, we are all the same region, we are all Biafra or whatever they call it, they will say thunder fire you, God forbid. They will now remind them of during the civil war, when they unalive some Deltans or whatever, they put it in the air, they say Igbo people are no good people. They say just stay on your own, most stay on their own. So at the end of the day, everybody is living with poverty. Just like I keep saying, why will the oil companies have their headquarters in Lagos, remitting everything to Lagos and the rest of it? So a divided kingdom, and just like they say, a divided kingdom can never stand. That is the modus operandi. So everybody now is left to fight for his own. Niger Delta, they fight another cause. Igbo people, they fight another cause. So you look at all these dynamics, you get to see that at the end of the day, it's all man for himself. And let's look at it. In the midst of all this insecurity or whatever, now I will tell you, take it or leave it. The Oduduwa Republic, the Lagos, happens to be the most fortified region. Why is it the most fortified? Because Amotekun is there, and the swift action in the sense that when something happens like this, they nip it immediately and it stops. Part of the reason why the Niger Delta is even enjoying some relevant peace at the moment is because they are near the waterways, and apart from that, they happen to be the hub, the engine of Nigeria's revenue at the moment. So anything that affects them affects Nigeria's revenue, and that is why they find it very easy to nip any insecurity in the Niger Delta, but poverty may remain there. And that is just it. And we'll just sit down and keep deceiving ourselves and be thinking that this person is going to change, or because he doesn't understand what is happening. They understand perfectly what is happening. But having said all this, is there actually a solution? There is a solution, but it's only meant for he who is ready to listen.